All right, Cordite 4. You'll hook up now and take on 4,000 pounds. All set? Cordite 4 from Cordite Lead. I said, are you ready?
This is Cordite 4. Affirmative. All ready, sir.
What's the matter? This isn't your first time up here. Let's go. Cordite 4, settle down. Just hook up and maintain your proper position. Right now, Cordite 4. Hold it there. See, nice and easy. No sweat. Cordite 4, this is Cordite Lead. How goes it? Are your tanks full yet?
Cordite Lead, Cordite 4, I'm topped off.
All right, Cordite 4, disconnect. Tower from Cordite Lead. 30 miles out. Request landing information, over.
Roger, Cordite Lead. George Tower, landing runway 16. Altimeter 29902, winds variable 5 knots. Report on initial, over.
Colonel Hunt sent word he wants to see you, sir.
Now?
Well, he said as soon as you got down.
Okay.
Bradley, you trying to give me a bad time up there?
I'd like to explain about that, Major Stevens, sir.
Explain nothing. It took you 2 minutes to hook up, and that's 2 minutes too long. What's going to happen to you when we get up there at night and go through the same kind of mission? You better get out your needle and thread and start practicing in your spare time.
Hey, Brad, the Base Exchange just got in some of those newfangled sewing kits. Want us to chip in and get you one?
Hey, Fred.
Yeah, Bob.
The General wants you to report to his office at base headquarters immediately. There's a group of Norwegian 104 pilots. He wants to be escorted and shown our whole operation.
Well, I've got another flight scheduled in half an hour, and I need the time.
Yeah, but I heard you're the linguist in this outfit.
Oh, yeah. Last week it was the West Germans, and a month ago the Japanese. Now, with all these NATO countries buying up these 104s, well, they They all want to see how the experts do it.
Major Stevens is here, sir.
Have him come in.
Good morning, Colonel Hunt.
Morning, Bob. Have a seat. I'll be right with you. Bob, you're going to lose 3 of your officers. I'm sending Holzhauer, Riggs, and Bradley over to the 580th. How are they doing?
Well, no sweat on Holzhauer and Riggs, but Bradley's still having a little trouble with the refueling.
Well, they'll shape him up in a hurry. The 580th is deploying to Spain at the end of the month. These 3 will fill their quota. Don't look so happy, my friend, because you're getting 3 troops who've seen Lockheed's 104 only in pictures. But they'll be willing and able. Transfer says they're coming in today.
I'm used to it.
Not quite. Coming in are First Lieutenants William York, Eugene Lyons, and John W. Witkowski, Jr.
Junior?
Mm-hmm. Son of Congressman John W. Witkowski. And also the Colonel Witkowski, who flew the B-24s over Pulaski, Schweinfurt, Regensburg, and about every other place those Mack trucks dropped their 1,000-pounders on.
Wasn't he the one that retired at 20 years and right after that got himself elected to the House of Representatives?
That's right. And the same Witkowski who's been appealing to virtually every appropriations committee concerned with expenditures, making sure that the Air Force doesn't lose out on any of his planned projects.
So that's good.
Yeah, that's good. But his old man wants his son into the heavy stuff. He wants him to fly the B-52s or 58s. Doesn't think he should be wasting his time in these piddling fighters. Consequently, he's been hounding the young lieutenant wherever he's stationed.
You mean he wants him out?
Well, he wants him out of the Tactical Air Command and into SAC. He wants the boy to push the big stuff around like Daddy used to do 20 years ago.
Heck, he should know those 104s aren't toys at $1.5 million apiece. Well, they can do a lot more damage than those 24s that Witowski so kindly remembers.
I don't know. Maybe he's thinking about the times he had to hit those deep targets without any fighter support. But he's griped at the fighters about something.
Well, maybe he should be briefed again on how our attack fighters did it alone at Lebanon and Taiwan, and more recently Berlin.
Well, at least the young lieutenant knows what he wants. He hasn't let anybody know he's the son of a VIP or asked for any preferential treatment. So you treat him like one of the boys. Gentlemen, the plane you're going to be working with for the next few months is a fighter pilot's dream. Ever since the days of Rick Toffin and Rickenbacker, the pilots who fly to fight have always yearned for the advantages of altitude and speed. You will experience a concept of lightness never before felt in what is truly an ultrasonic fighter. Now, this is the Starfighter, Lockheed's F-104 air superiority fighter. It's a part of the team of the Tactical Air Command's Composite Airstrike Force. It's even been called a missile with a man in it. Now, I know you intrepid pilots are anxious to get the feel of the bird, or else you wouldn't be here. So I'm assigning the 3 of you to Major Stevens, 578 TAC Squadron. Major Stevens flew the P-38s in World War II and the 86s in Korea. And right now, you can bet your sweet life he's sold on the Starfighter.
Some bird, huh? Look out for the leading edge of that wing, Lieutenant Lyons. It's sharp. No, I mean it. Go ahead and try and slice something on it. See, almost like a knife. That wing is so thin you wonder how it can get up enough lift to keep this bird flying. And by the way, where did you men come from? How about you, Lieutenant Witkowski?
Well, sir, Lieutenant York and I were at Nellis together. We picked up a couple of 100 hours flying the 100s there.
Well, the 100 is a good airplane. It's still the backbone of the Tactical Air Command. How about you, Lieutenant Lyon?
I flew the 86s over at Luke. And before that, I was a T-bird instructor.
Good. Any of you married?
Yes, sir. My wife's with me here.
And 2 bachelors, I suppose. Well, a couple of good-looking troops like you shouldn't have trouble finding dates in a hurry.
You just furnish us with a couple of leads, Major.
Right now, I'm here to furnish you with information about this airplane. You've already read the flight manual, so come around the other side and take a look at this. Bet you never saw this version of the rotating Gatling gun before, especially pushing out 20-millimeter shells, 6,000 of them a minute. That's 100 rounds per second, gentlemen.
Wow.
This is the probe that's used for air refueling. You'll get your taste of that a few weeks from now.
When do we get our first checkout ride, Major?
Want to get settled in the married officers' quarters with your wife, Lieutenant Lyons?
Yes, sir, I certainly do.
All right, Lieutenant Witkowski. I'll schedule you to go up with me in the 2-place job. We'll also get an instructor for Lieutenant York. Go on back to the squadron room. You'll be briefed. Lieutenant Lyons, you get yourself settled. Check in at the officers' club. You'll fly first thing in the morning.
Gee, I sure appreciate that, Major. You know, it's a little tough on the wife. I mean, checking on a new base and all of that. Thank you, sir.
Sergeant, those 2 Ds will be taking off at 14:30. Get your men on them right away. Yes, sir. This helmet belonged to a German who checked out on the bird and went home as an instructor pilot. Why don't you wear it for this ride until we can get one of your own?
Okay, Major.
All right, you've read the TOs. You've been briefed on local procedures. After takeoff, we'll head north over the high Sierras. Look at the snow for a while. Then we'll climb to 32,000 feet and learn a little about this job. Now, since both of you have had sufficient time in the F-100s, you're going to find that this bird is lighter, more sensitive, and a heck of a lot faster. But we'll hand you the stick up there after a bit. So let's crank up now and go have a little serious fun.
George Tower from Cordite 1. Taxi and takeoff information 2104 is VFR.
Cordite 1, George. Taxi runway 16, altimeter 29908, hold short of the active, over.
Cordite 1, roger.
Winds 270, 10 knots, clear for takeoff.
let's separate now and give our boys a feel of the flight characteristics. All right, Lieutenant Witowski, take over. I want to see if they taught you anything more than straight and level at Nellis.
You don't mind if I try rigging it out a bit, Major?
You mean you want to play or try to scare me?
No, sir. Just want to see how this one responds.
Okay, she's your baby. Don't spank her too hard. Okay, boy. I'm taking over. Cordite 2 from 1. Let's join it up and go home.
Roger, 1. I'm on your tail.
The George Tower, Cordite lead, 2104, straight in approach.
Cordite lead, George Tower, runway 16, clear to land.
I see you've been up in the newcomers. What do they think of the Starfighters?
Well, I don't know about York, but Witowski seems to have been born in one.
Oh, yeah? The way his old man feels about it? Why? What happened?
Well, after half an hour of some familiarization flying, I gave him the feel of it. He made me ashamed of the 1,000 hours I've logged on this bird.
What's the beef, Bob?
Well, none, Colonel, but frankly, I never saw a neophyte handle an airplane the way Witowski did. Well, sure, he was a little sloppy on the controls at the start, but after he got used to the characteristics, he threw the book at it, doing his best to annihilate space.
You mean he was showing off?
Well, not at all. No, Witowski's the start of a darn good fighter pilot. He was obviously trained right. But more than that, there's something bringing this drive out in him.
Of course.
The congressman?
Well, maybe. Did you know flying a plane is like making love? Once he's had a little experience, every operator thinks he's an expert.
Well, hello there.
Well, hello there yourself. You two were such a picture of contentment while we hesitated about interrupting.
Not at all.
Say, fellas, this is my wife, Betty. Betty, this is John Witkowski and Bill York.
Hi,
Betty.
John.
Hi, Betty.
Come on, have a seat. You guys aren't going anywhere.
Sure, we were hoping we'd run into some friends at the club.
Gene told me he was starting out with a couple of bachelors.
Oh, footloose and fancy-free. And we're on the prowl.
Any luck yet?
Well, we can't really say. We really haven't started to look. Well, what are you doing tonight?
Huh. Hey, you really are on the prowl. You stay out of this.
Yes, stay out of this. Now, which one of you two nice young men is looking for a date?
Me.
Right here.
Well, not to change the subject, but just how did it go out there today, huh?
Gene, you'll never believe it. I don't know how to explain it. You'll never believe it. That bird really wants to go. You know, it's even more than Colonel Hunt said it was. You know, I actually thought that it was going to get away from under us while we were taking off. I've never experienced anything like it before. Never before. You remember when we were making the change from recips to T-birds?
Yeah.
Believe me, this change is even more terrific.
You mean you're really sold on it, huh?
Oh, I signed the contract today.
Is it true what he said? You mean about the wonderful flight you had today?
Everything he says and an awful lot more, too. Gene leaps off on his first ride in the morning.
Yeah, and I can hardly wait. Say, look, why don't you guys join us for dinner tonight? Come on.
Oh, negative, but thanks. I had a snack a little while earlier. Right now, all I want to do is make friends with the bartender.
Gene, I think I'll pass on that, too. You get me a date, and I'll take you up on that dinner offer. Okay?
We'll see. Nice meeting you, Betty.
See you guys later.
You know, John, I never really realized what a tiger you are.
With them? Why, I'm just as sociable as the next guy.
No, I mean about on that flight today. Well, you were really racking it around.
What do you mean? Stevens gave me the controls and told me not to break the airplane, that's all.
Yeah, I know. But you've been holding out on me, old buddy.
Well, this is not the first time either of us have been in a jet.
First time in one of these babies for me. Boy, what a piece of machinery.
Oh, they're all pretty much alike. This one's just a little easier, that's all.
Easier? Huh. Well, this just wants to get away from you, that's all.
Come on, let's get off the flying kick, huh? We're going to be on it every day for the next 6 months.
Day and night. Hey, I live for this stuff, don't you?
Sure, Bill. Flying's my first love right now. I suppose if I weren't a throttle jock, why, maybe I'd be on a Navy underwater demolition team or some other wild outfit. And that'd be my first love.
You mean to say you didn't want in this man's Air Force?
When I was in college, my dad wanted me to get into the ROTC. My school just happened to have an Air Force ROTC unit. Then when I graduated, he wanted me to get into the actual flying end of it. So I'm here, and that's great. But I wasn't one of these kids that used to hang around airports just to be near pilots and planes and hangar talk. I'm in fighters, and I really love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. But I don't see why we have to breathe it day and night.
Jeez, I start a friendly conversation, and he takes the floor.
Okay, sport. Here's to some really good flying.
I'll drink to that.
Well, gentlemen, now that you've soloed in the Starfighter, you're entitled to this patch. I'm sure you'll discover that the next training phase is more exciting and much more demanding. Eventually, we'll be depending on you to perform a variety of flying jobs. For instance, that pilot right there is going up for another high-altitude Sidewinder firing test. Colonel Hunt, sir, they've been looking for you. Telephone call from Washington.
And I've been looking for you, O'Brien. The General has just been informed that 5 technicians from the Belgian Air Force will be on the base sometime this evening. And you are to escort them during their stay here.
What? I'm set up for night flying this week.
I know, but it'll just have to wait until after they've seen how we operate here.
Well, I'll be glad.
Temper.
Oh, nuts. Sir.
Colonel Hunt speaking.
Good morning, Colonel Hunt. You're a hard man to find.
Who's this?
Well, it's a little difficult to introduce oneself over the phone, but I'm John Witkowski, the father, one of the pilots who transferred to your command a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yes, our Lieutenant Witkowski. I do know you by reputation, of course, Congressman.
Pleasure to speak with you in person.
But I believe your boy is up on a training mission right now. I'd have him talk to you.
No, I merely wanted to introduce myself to you. We may have a bit in common, you see. You and I were flying in the ETO together 20 years ago.
Quite a lot of us pilots were in the ETO together at that time, sir.
Maybe so. Tell me, Colonel Hunt, how's the lad doing?
Well, he came in here with a couple of other officers, and he's going through routine 104 operational procedures right now.
Getting along all right, then, is he?
I only met him once, Congressman, but he seems like a personable boy to me. Should have no trouble with his fellow men or the aircraft he's flying.
I happen to be looking at the TAC tally of accidents, Colonel Hunt, and I was frankly shocked at what I saw.
What do you mean, sir?
Well, to my knowledge, it was considerably more than those sustained by the heavy bombers in SAC.
Congressman, did you ever consider how many individual flights the Tactical Air Command puts in the air as compared to the Strategic Air Command?
I'm comparing it with an accident-free record, which is what it should be.
Exactly right. In this day of advanced engineering, the equipment is virtually perfect. But we still have the human factor to contend with. That's why your boy is here, to be supervised in handling these planes, so that they can perform in the manner that the Air Force specified.
How is John doing in his flying, Colonel Hunt?
He's just started, and he has months of intensive training in all combat procedures ahead of him.
You all want to climb in this bug?
Hold it. I'm the only one that's going to.
Sorry I'm late, honey, but I made a date for one of you. Who wants it?
What do you mean made a date? For when?
For tomorrow night.
I can tell you right now that it's got to be me without any argument from him. He goes on a 24-hour duty as assistant aerodrome officer,
And he knows it.
Yeah, my name has been on the list for 3 weeks now, and there's nothing I can really do about it. And besides, you never really should send a boy to do a man's job.
Sorry, Ace, but she really would have preferred me anyway. Level with me, Betty. What's she like?
Do you realize that I've been stationed here over a month now? And this is the first night that I've found out this lovely creature exists.
Well, Mary didn't exist much before this past week. She just moved to the West Coast with her family. I met them all out in Apple Valley.
So I must have looked lonesome.
You did.
Well, we're going to take care of that from here on in. Is this your first time on an airbase?
Mm-hmm.
Never been around a bunch of pilots before?
Mm-hmm.
So, how about that? Someone who'll listen for a change.
Well, I wish I could have listened a while back, then perhaps I wouldn't be where I am today. Hey, Mary, where are you from anyway?
Iowa.
Say, I've heard of that place before, Gene. Don't we have a cross-country schedule to take us across there?
Yeah, but we can bypass it if you like.
No kidding, Iowa.
Yes, and I bet you're going to ask me if my family raised corn back there.
Well, now that you mention it, I was going to do that very thing.
Well, go ahead and ask me.
Okay, I'm asking.
Actually, we did and we didn't.
Oh, thanks a lot, you guys. You brought me a puzzler.
No.
Okay, I'll bite.
Dad had an experimental farm back there.
And I suppose you were the one that held the tape measure every morning just to see how much the stalks grew overnight.
Not quite, but for the last 2 years, I was what they call a corn detasseler.
A what?
A corn detasseler.
What in blazes is that?
Well, that's a person who removes the pollen-bearing tassels from 5 rows of corn, then skips a couple of rows and tassels the next 5 rows, and so forth.
Go on. I'm flabbergasted.
Well, the 2 rows you skip are the male rows, and when the tassels dry out, the pollen drifts over to the female silk of the 5-row section and fertilizes them. That's how we develop our hybrid seed corn.
Can you beat that? I always knew that sex was corny, but did you ever think that corn could be so sexy?
Well, now, I've been here at George for the past 3 years now, and every time I see a pretty new face, I have to find out who it belongs to. I've met this pretty face before, though. Hi, Betty.
Hi, Fred.
This is Mary Davison. Mary, this is Fred O'Brien. He's one of the flight commanders in our squadron.
Another pilot? Won't you join us?
Oh, by all means, if only for a little while.
Oh, thanks very much. I don't mind if I do. Well, where were we?
You were about to ask where Mary came from.
Oh, yeah. Well, now tell me, where did you come from, Mary?
Iowa, if you must know.
Oh, really? And what'd you do back there?
She was a corn detasseler.
A what?
A corn detasseler.
Oh, now what in the world is that?
Well, that's a person who...
Oh, now, hold it. Once a night is enough.
Oh, no. I'd like to hear more about this. After all, I'm just a little old farm boy myself.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, really. You know, my dad still runs a small dairy farm right outside of Milwaukee. Of course, I got out in time.
I know. You couldn't take the beer competition.
Oh, no. No, Dad always said there were 3 ways a man could bring about his physical destruction. They were by drinking, by women, and by farming. Well, unfortunately, my poor father chose the least exciting of the 3.
Excuse me, Captain O'Brien. You wanted on the phone in the lobby.
Phone call? Well, who is it?
I don't know. They just asked me to see if you were here.
Well, will you save my place, everybody? I'll be right back.
Okay, Fred.
Captain O'Brien. Say, Fred, this is Bill York.
Hey, listen, I'm on special duty tonight, and I need your help.
Yeah, what's up, Bill?
Well, look, out at base ops, there are 4 Italian officers, and they're on one of these government-sponsored inspection tours. Well, they bypassed going into McClellan, and they stopped here instead. I understand you're the best one to see in such cases.
What, me on a Saturday night? Look, I've got friends waiting for me inside. Besides, Italian's one language I don't comprehend.
Fred, look, all of these guys speak good English. You know that. They just need somebody to clear them through and to get them billeted. I'm going to be tied up at the message center, so I can't do it.
Oh, Bill, you shouldn't do this to me.
Oh, look, I'm really sorry, but with your experience, I understand you're really the one to call in such cases.
Okay. I'll be right down and check them in.
I already have your wheels for you, Fred. They're right out front.
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
Hey! You don't have to go in yet, do you? Your house is all dark. Did your folks go to bed early?
Either that or they aren't in yet themselves.
Did you have fun tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Me too. First time I've been out on a date since I left Nellis.
Nellis? Who's Nellis? Is she cute?
Well, you nut. Nellis is the name of our Air Force base outside of Las Vegas.
Oh.
It's been called a lot of things, but never cute.
I bet there are plenty of girls there.
Where, at the base?
No, Vegas, silly.
Oh, well, of course. Vegas is a swinging town.
This place must seem awfully quiet to you after that, then.
No, I kind of like it here. I had a good time in Vegas while I was there, but it was really too expensive for me. I don't miss it.
Oh, I bet you do, too. I've heard about Las Vegas and all those showgirls.
Now, what would a fighter pilot know about showgirls?
I can't imagine. How do you spend your time around here?
Well, I don't spend it. They've got it all planned out for me.
You're a pilot. Don't you fly a lot?
Well, sure, as much as I can get on the schedule. That's not as much as I'd like.
When will we be going up next?
First part of next week, I guess. Why?
Could you do me a favor?
Well, sure.
Could you fly real low over our house and make your engine roar real loud?
Oh, Mary, you've been seeing too many of those World War II flicks on the Late Late Show. Well, those days of buzzing are gone forever.
But I thought pilots always wanted to do that.
Well, sure we do, but look, if I were to come over to this house at full bore, I'd break all those windows. I'd knock all your dishes off the shelves. And all of these lovely neighbors around here would be in dialing the base commander, and I'd end up grounded. Probably never fly again. Now, the only time we go on any low-level missions is only when it's specifically called for, and then only over unpopulated areas, unquote. Hey, I've got a pet peeve about talking about flying away from the flight line, and especially when I really don't even feel like talking at all.
You're right, Johnny. We shouldn't be talking. I have to get up early in the morning, and after church, the folks want to spend the rest of the day at Lake Arrowhead. I just want to say that I really enjoyed myself tonight. You don't have to walk me to my door. I hope you'll ask me out next time. Night-night.
Stay awake now, gentlemen. You've got an important one today, so shape up and listen good. You're going to be firing the Sidewinder missile from the 104. As you know, the Sidewinder is attracted to its target by the infrared heat given off by that target. It's meant to fly right up the tailpipe of an aircraft. But since there aren't any MiGs around, you're going to have a rocket with flares attached mounted on the other wingtip. Now, these flares will be the heat attraction. You'll dispatch that rocket first. And when it is an adequate distance from your plane, you'll let go of the Sidewinder. Then watch what happens. Take a good look at it, fellas, while it's brand spanking new. This target is called the Dart. We tow it from another 104. In an hour, it had better be lying on the floor of Death Valley, so full of holes it wouldn't even have salvage value for matchsticks. Good afternoon, Colonel Hunt.
You go right ahead, Major.
Yes, sir. Now, I'll be on the tow plane today, so if any of you have any ill feelings about the way I've treated you the past few weeks, here's your chance.
You take it easy on that squadron commander. I need him.
Well, you've all had your basic gunnery, so now you're going to get a surprise doing it with a Gatling gun in this Starfighter. With its 6 rotating barrels pushing out 20-millimeter shells at the rate of 100 per second, you're not going to hear anything but a loud buzz when it fires. After the first few trial bursts, I want nothing but hits from then on. Understand?
What would it do for your morale if I told you of all the times I've been up in these birds, I never have hit one of those things yet?
Colonel, I know all about your reputation for not being able to see the target. Maybe if we'd painted a swastika on it, you'd tear it loose from the plane in one burst. Colonel Hunt here had many kills and as many probables over France. It's a standing joke around here that he's not exactly proficient with anything that does not shoot back.
Only the commander can get away with that. Listen, I just got back from the Victorville Chamber of Commerce meeting where I gave him my anti-communist speech, and I'm still fighting mad. I want you fellas to get up there and do right by me and knock the devil out of that thing.
Lead, I've got troubles here. My number 2 hydraulic system is dropping rapidly.
All right, let's clear the range and I'll get on your wing. Take up the heading for the base.
Yes, sir.
Cordite 2, any change yet?
Negative. Gauge says there's nothing left.
Okay, lower your airspeed to 220 knots and drop your gear. Your gear looks okay. Are you indicating luck?
No, sir, I've got an unsafe gear indication, and my number 2 hydraulic system reads absolute 0 now.
Then pull your manual emergency gear release.
Cordite lead, still reading unsafe here.
Hold one. I'm calling in requesting emergency for straight-in approach. George Tower from Cordite lead.
Cordite lead, George Tower, over.
George, Cordite lead. Request emergency landing for 104, which I'm chasing to base, approximately 30 miles north. Request straight-in approach. My wingman has a hydraulic utility failure. Landing gear down, but indicating unsafe. I'm declaring an emergency.
Roger, Cordite lead. We will clear the pattern for you to land on runway 16, straight-in approach.
Cordite, check.
Emergency, emergency. F-104 hydraulic failure. Landing from a straight-in approach. Runway 16. Attention all aircraft, vicinity George Air Force Base. We have an emergency landing. Keep clear of George traffic pattern. I repeat, we have an emergency. Maintain radio silence.
Cordite 2, any change yet?
Negative lead, same indications here.
John, you prepared to sweat that bird down?
I think I can handle it, Major. I just hope this gear doesn't fold up when I touch down.
John, from here all 3 wheels are down and appear to be locked tight.
Raj.
I'm lowering my gear to stay with you. I want you to make a normal approach and landing. Emergency equipment is standing by. The George Tower, Cordite lead. We're 5 miles out on final.
Cordite lead from George Tower, roger. Traffic is clear for you to land. Attention all aircraft, vicinity George Air Force Base. Emergency has terminated. George, open for normal traffic.
Uh-huh. So you're the one they're making all of that fuss about out there. Hey, you trying to grab the spotlight, boy? Huh?
Mm-mm. It was a little hairy, but no sweat.
Well, with all those wagons out there, somebody must have worked up a little sweat.
Oh, sorry I disappointed him.
Oh, hey, I almost forgot. Somebody's been trying to get a hold of you all day, long distance. You're supposed to call Operator 12, Washington, D.C.
Right. Thanks, Gene.
Hey, do you have any influence back there, huh?
No, nothing's wrong, Johnny. We haven't heard from you for a while, and we're wondering if everything's all right out there.
No, Dad, everything's okay. Hey, it's great to hear from you. How are you?
Oh, feeling tops, Johnny. But I was concerned about not hearing from you for so long.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dad. We've been so busy here lately. I guess I've been kind of lax in writing to you and Mom. How is she?
Fine as usual. But you know how she worries about you. Did that all the time when I was flying years ago. I couldn't convince her how safe it was.
And now you're worried about me, huh, Dad?
Well, tell me, how's it going, Johnny? Any troubles?
Oh, nothing at all to speak of. We're going through the typical transition training that everybody does in these 104s.
Yes, I imagine you are. Trouble is that I've been reading a number of reports lately that come across my desk telling me of all sorts of accidents.
Accidents? What kind?
Well, you know, the usual kind. Engine flame out, things like that. And then the fighters, the pilot always bails out. Not like in those big jobs where you can keep flying if you lose one engine.
Oh, look, Dad, I know what you're driving at, and the whole thing is silly. There's been nothing like that happening here. And if it did, I'm sure I could hack any emergency, where we go through these recommended steps all the time.
I still wish you'd apply for a transfer into a bigger outfit, you know. Well, like one of those SAC outfits. Those B-58s will be coming into their own shortly.
Well, Dad, it just isn't done that way. You don't go hopping around from place to place because you want to try out different methods. Well, you should know how they operate.
I'm in a position to make it real easy for you to get into an operational B-52 wing right away, Johnny.
I'm sorry, that doesn't interest me in the least.
Well, for heaven's sake, boy, I'm interested.
Come on, Dad. Look, I'm here to stay, and no one is going to change my mind. Now, can we get off it now?
All right, John, I'm sorry I intruded. I'm merely thinking of your future as any father's interested in his son's vocation.
Dad, I sure appreciate your calling, but I just got down from a flight, and I've got to report to a debriefing session. You understand? Right, Dad. Okay, sure. And thanks a lot. So long.
Yes. So long, John.
What's the matter? Girlfriend stands you up?
Huh? Oh, no. Hey, but you put the bee in my bonnet. Listen, if I can get hold of Mary, will you join us at the club tonight?
Well, sure, but why didn't you tell me I was going to be sitting here like a big bump on a log?
You're not, Bill. I'm glad you could be with us.
Thanks.
Betty and Gene will be here in a minute, then we'll have a ball.
Oh, boy, then I'll be like a fifth wheel. But I'll drink to that.
Okay.
Innkeeper, same all around.
Come on. Okay, you two?
Fine.
Hi.
Hey, here they are.
Hey, Betty.
Hi. Hey, Bill, you want it on the telephone, out in the lobby.
Well, who found me here?
I don't know, but somebody's been looking for you all day.
Don't touch a thing. I'll be right back. This is Lieutenant York.
Say, Bill, this is Fred O'Brien.
Look, they've got a plane scheduled.
For a short night cross-country flight in an hour. You and I are the only ones who need the time, so I thought I'd check with you and see if you could take it.
Me? Listen, I'm here with a little party, Fred. We're just about ready to sit down and eat.
Well, I've got a date tonight, and I'd as soon put this off till next week.
One of us will have to go on it.
Look, I'll supply the Dexedrine, no charge.
I'm glad you called to tell me that you're volunteering, Fred, because my time is all spoken for.
Why, now, hold it, Bill. Let's be democratic about this and flip, as usual.
But I've got people waiting for me inside.
Oh, come on now. This is SOP. Are you going to match me?
Raj, go ahead. I'll match you.
All right, there's mine.
What do you got?
Now, you tell me first.
Oh, no. I was first last time, remember?
I've got tails. What's yours?
Well, mine's heads. But I'm sorry, old chap. Better luck next time. Hey, what's the matter, Bill? You look like an astronaut who wasn't selected to get into orbit. You teed off about something?
Tails. I get the wrong end of everything. Hey!
I'm getting used to this desert country. I may even get to like it if we stay here long enough.
If you're not moving, are you?
No, the folks like it too much. It's so peaceful out here. I don't think I've ever heard it quite this silent. Listen, hardly a sound.
Somebody spoke too soon. There go a couple of Starfighters off on a night mission. You know, we're a good 10 miles from the base. Well, that sound sure travels out here at night.
Wish you'd travel a little closer to me and snuggle up.
You know, This reminds me about the time at Luke, when the commanding officer invited a few of his favorite pilots to his ranch cabin. Oh, it was a very quiet, secluded place, away from everything. With no parties, no nightlife, and no women.
Did you boys enjoy yourselves?
Who went?
Oh, you.
I think our chaperones have fallen asleep.
No, we haven't. But if you don't get us home real soon, we'll have to unroll our sleeping bag right here.
And you wouldn't want us to do that now, would you?
Okay, Grandma and Grandpa, but it beats me why you old married folk like to hit that sack so early.
This will be a combination cross-country and refueling mission. Now, you've all been on the KC-135 tankers before, so you know the procedure. After you've each taken on 5,000 pounds, you'll disconnect and complete your cross-country. We'll start engines at 13:10. Take off at 13:25. We'll climb out on course and tuck in as soon as possible. We'll be on target at 14:10. The weather over Death Valley is clear, with some high, thin cirrus. There's a front moving in out of these lower desert areas with some squalls and thunder bumpers. We should be able to avoid those on our return. Last man should get back to base by 1600 at the very latest. Any questions? Fine, let's get out there and crank up.
Wing Ops to Wing Commander.
Go ahead, Ops.
We have a severe weather warning, sir. That front turned northeast and picked up speed after it left Mexico. They've reported thunderstorms, high winds, extreme turbulence, and maximum cloud tops to 45,000 feet.
Are we clear?
The base is, sir. But we have that flight of 4 birds on the refueling mission returning from their cross-country. That front is moving so fast that it might cut them off from us before they have a chance to realize it.
Who's out?
Major Stevens, Lieutenants York, Lyons, and Witkowski, all from the 578.
They know what to do, and they have sufficient fuel to find an alternate in case they get stuck. Keep me informed as they come in. George Tower, this is Cordite 1. Request landing information, over.
Cordite 1, George Tower, land runway 16, winds 170 at 20 knots, gusty to 30, call on downwind with gear.
Cordite 1, roger.
Wing Ops to Wing Commander.
Go ahead, Ops.
Major Stevens just called in for a landing. He's in the pattern now.
Stevens already? He takes on fuel last. He's supposed to be the last one in. I'll be right out there.
What are you doing in so early without the rest of your troops?
Well, it was getting so sloppy out there, I cut my cross-country short.
Apparently no one else did. You're the only one back.
Well, I wasn't going to set her down in some alternate when I knew I could get in here easily.
Sure, but why did your flight do it?
Colonel, we both know they can put into Nellis, March, Luke, Edwards, or half a dozen other places I gave them during briefing. That's exactly what they're supposed to do. I can find out what's going on a lot easier from here in case we get socked in.
We won't. It'll stay clear here. Come on into the office.
Tower just received a report from the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office that a local rancher observed a jet fighter go down. The plane came out of a heavy rain squall out of control. Location was the Granite Mountains east of Apple Valley.
Call the tower, find out what that was. I want to get the weather.
Tower, this is Major Stevens in the Wing Commander's office. What buzzed us just now?
That was a 104 with his gear down, Major. We didn't get any call from him, so I assume he has an electrical failure. He's turning on his final approach now.
What's the aircraft's number?
Can't make it out yet.
Stand by 1, sir.
Sir, that was 926 that just touched.
Okay. Squadron Ops in Wing Commander's office. Who was up in 926?
926? I'll check, sir. Sir?
Come on.
926 was taken up by Lieutenant York, sir.
Weather says it's clearing up east of us. Storm was fast and vicious, but not too thick.
Those choppers should get in there then. Look now, keep us informed if they call in at all. And how about checking with some of those alternates to see if they radioed in there? And tell Lieutenant York I want to see him at Colonel Hunt's office immediately. Still no word from rescue. Colonel Hunt's office. Oh, well, yes, just a moment. Here's one for the books. Congressman Witkowski is on the line.
What? How could he know? Tell him I'm in a conference with the general. Oh, I better take it. It's a hell of a way to run a railroad. Colonel Hunt here.
Hello, Colonel Hunt. This is John Witkowski. We haven't talked together for a few months now, so I was calling to get some information from you.
Yes, Congressman, nice to hear from you again. But
Sorry to seem like a pest, Colonel, but you remember how when we were in, we didn't always write home as much as we should have, and well, I guess that my boy John is guilty of doing the same thing, so I thought...
Congressman, I'm still in the service, and I agree I don't write home too much anymore either.
Well, I was only wondering how the boy was doing there, and training, and all that.
Well, sir, as far as I know, your boy is doing as well as could be expected, but right now I must be brief and hang up. We're having an important exercise here at the base, and I need all the lines for communication purposes.
Wing Ops to Wing Commander.
Go ahead, Ops.
The helicopter pilots found the plane. It's a 104, sir. They came across it in a pretty rugged area and found that the pilot had ejected. They're looking for the chute now.
What was the number of the downed plane?
I don't know, sir. They didn't give it to us.
Well, contact them and get the number, quick.
Sorry to be blunt, Congressman, but I have to cut this conversation short so to keep all of our lines clear. I'll see to it that your son calls you.
Come in. Lieutenant York, reporting his orders, sir.
So what happened to you?
Both of my generators went out, sir, and I couldn't get them back on the line.
I mean with that front moving in on you. What did you do?
Well, actually, it wasn't too bad where I was, sir. I flew around the easterly end of it and came up from behind.
Do you realize Lyons and Witkowski haven't checked in yet?
Yes, sir. Although I did hear someone on the radio say that they were going to try to land at Nellis instead of making it back here. I didn't recognize the voice or the call sign, though.
Wing Ops to Wing Commander. Yeah, Ops. Any news for us?
Rescue says that was 929 that crashed.
Okay.
Major Stevens here.
Major, Flight Service just now called to say that one of our birds landed up at Nellis a half an hour ago. Sit out that approaching front. Yes, sir, they've got it so bad up there right now, he's staying on the ground. Pilot's John Witkowski.
Witkowski safe at Nellis? O'Brien, look at the scheduling board. Did Lyons take up 929?
929? Yes, sir, that's Lieutenant Lyons.
Lieutenant Lyons is out there. All right, you 104 drivers, settle down and listen to something important. Colonel?
Thank you, Major. Well, that was something to do we had around here yesterday, so I'll get right to the point. 2 of you did the right thing, and 1 of you goofed up royally. Result, we lost 1 badly needed aircraft. Now, when you're in that high fasty, and you get your head up where it doesn't belong, you're going to find out you're going to end up with a short end of the stick. However, the investigation board will submit its findings in a day or so we'll let it drop until then. But I have some information that you've been waiting to hear. Major Stevens and your entire fighter squadron, the 578, will deploy for Europe at the end of the month.
Okay, knock it off. You don't have to act as though you didn't know it was coming. Of course, we have a lot of polishing up to do for the ORI, and a lot of good old-fashioned paperwork to complete. Well, since we'll be flying our own Starfighters over the water, you're going to have to check out your rescue equipment. Now, a very important piece of that rescue equipment is what we call a... Sergeant, would you step up here for a moment, please? The sergeant here is dressed in what is known as a poopy suit. Now, don't ask me why they call it that. But you'll be wearing one of these on your way across. So next Saturday, you're going to get a chance to check them and make sure there aren't any leaks. Okay, you jocks, let's find out why you didn't join the Navy. Last one in's a Goonie Bird.
Hey, I think I'll squizzle
out while you can and get it fixed.
Captain Fred O'Brien in there?
Yes, sir. Right over here.
O'Brien and some Greek pilots down at headquarters. They'll be here for a week to watch us in operation. The administrative officer, remember, you're the one who usually took over in cases like this. So I...
Oh, no, Colonel, not again.
Let me finish. So I told him to shove it, get himself another boy. Your escort days on the ground are over.
Colonel Hunt, telephone, sir.
You mean they traced me here?
You can take it on the inside extension.
Okay, where is it? Colonel Hunt speaking.
You're a hard man to locate, Colonel Hunt. This is John Witkowski.
Right, sir. And how are you again, Congressman?
I'm fine here, except that I just now received information through my committee that you had an unfortunate loss of another plane out there, and that my son was involved in the same flight.
Mr. Witkowski, we did not lose another plane. That was the only one this past year. Besides, your son was the wisest one on the flight since he chose to land rather than fight his way through.
Well, just the same, Colonel, when we were flying together, you know as well as I do that drastic action was taken on such an occasion.
Sir, I seriously do not recall that we ever did fly together. Furthermore, the proper and prescribed action was taken in the case immediately.
Colonel Hunt, will you please inform me as to why you're so stubborn and will not consider a transfer for my son?
Congressman, I wanted to tell you about that. As a matter of fact, we are effecting a transfer for your boy.
You are? Wonderful, wonderful. But he didn't mention it. When did all this happen?
Only a couple of weeks ago. A matter of fact, they're giving him a sort of a going-away party right now. But I'm sure he can give you the good news by himself since you're on the line. You hold on. I'll get him for you.
Yes, sure.
Hiya, Dad.
Johnny, how goes it?
Well, just great, Dad. Did the CO tell you the news?
Yes, he told me you were being transferred, but he didn't brief me in on it. I think it's great. Which big outfit are you getting into?
No, none, Dad. Our entire squadron is being transferred to Europe to replace the squadron that's returning. But I'll give you and Mom all the details in the letter, okay? I promise. Dad. Hey, Dad.
And you mean he didn't say anything? Wasn't even angry or something?
Well, what could he say? There's nothing he could do about it. Oh, down deep inside, Dad knows I made the right decision.
I think you have too, Johnny. Flying fighters is important to you, and you wouldn't be happy doing anything else. But I sure hate to see you go.
Will you miss me?
You know I will.
How often will you write?
Is every day often enough?
Well, just about, but no less.
How long will you be gone, Johnny?
4 months. I guess that seems like a long time, doesn't it?
I'm beginning to miss you already.
Honey, I was wondering if I could ask you to wait for me.
Johnny, I was hoping you'd ask me that.
Honey, I really love you.
I love you too, Johnny.
George Tower, Cordite lead, taxi and takeoff information for 18104's IFR.
Cordite lead, George Tower. Taxi runway 16, altimeter 29904, hold short of the active.
Cordite lead, Raj.
Cordite lead, George Tower. Winds are calm, clear for takeoff.